What I have here are three incredibly gorgeous machines. I mean, these are really standouts. If you had this in your collection and someone came into the living room and that was sitting there, yeah, they'd notice it. What I have here are two operas, both in mahogany cases. One is nickel plated, one is gold plated, and then I have an Idelia here, which is going to be a video on its own because this is such a special machine. But these operas, normally they wouldn't look like this, as you probably know. They have they're usually painted brown with striping on it. So this is really unusual, both of these. And I'm going to bring it up close so you can see exactly what we're looking at. As far as operas go, they were introduced in 1911 in mahogany like this, but with, as I said, not necessarily nickel or gold plated. And then in 1912, they came out with an oak version with an oak cabinet and an oak horn. What's different about these? Well, these are kind of the top of the line, the best of the best as far as horn machines go. They have a direct drive, which means there's no belt involved in driving the mandrel, which makes them a little bit more steady. Part of the reason they used the belt was to isolate the motor a little bit so that motor noise wouldn't interfere. But by this point, they had that technology. They had the technology to do that without a belt. So that's one of the differences. And when we go close, I will show you how the reproducer stays stationary and the mandrel moves underneath it. So that's a departure from most of their design. The horn that they used is called a Music Master horn. And in 1912, the opera was renamed the concert model. So sometimes you'll see the exact same machines, but they'll say concert on them. These lasted till October 1913, when it was decided at the Edison factory, or with Edison, that they would no longer be producing outside horn machines. So basically, all outside horn machines production was stopped, except for one case, the school phonograph, which is in another video. That production continued a little bit after October 1913. So as usual, we're going to take a close-up look and see what these machines are all about. Talk about stunning. I mean, really, all nickel plated. Now this isn't original nickel plating. This has been done to this machine. I'm not sure if it was nickel plated originally, because they did do that on some of the machines. It's actually more complicated than you might think, because see how shiny it is? The bed plates, the metal cast parts would never have been that smooth. And when you plate something, whatever's underneath shows through, whatever texture you have. So these parts would have had to have been highly polished before they were plated. And then I don't believe they nickel plated it directly. They had to go through a process where maybe they copper plated it or something else, but there are several layers before they get to the actual nickel. But wow, look at that. And I love the ID plate. That is one interesting looking machine. And if nickel's not enough for you, how about gold? Let me move the horn out of the way so we can get in closer. Yeah, gold. Can't believe it. Look at that. There's his signature on it instead of a decal, obviously. And there's the gold ID plate. Everything is gold, even the reproducer. So this is a showpiece. I can imagine having both these in my living room. It'd be quite a look. As you can see, as I said, the mandrel moves back and forth under the reproducer. It's driven by a feed screw over here, and you engage it by pulling this down. And then there's an on-off switch. So it's a little bit unusual. And as you may or may not know, the horn on an opera is not held by a crane. It's self-supporting. Two very nice looking machines.